All right, ladies and gentlemen, Impact. Not a bad show. It has a couple of things I kind of question, but it's not bad. It was not bad. The opening with the 2 songs from Joe Henry were not bad. I didn't mind him stealing from another song, and I didn't mind him singing about how great he is as a champion. Does show a little bit of arrogance, but in this situation, we don't know how far they're going to push him as a face unless he's going to turn a bit heel. I will tell you this, seeing that it's Jake Something has challenged him for next week isn't a bad thing, because he did accept singing it. But I got to say this. We have to make sure, and I got to make this clear. As fans, we have to make sure we hold TNA accountable, because they have to give him credible threats and credible wrestlers to go up against. This has to happen. Now, it was great to see him in the Royal Rumble, who is number 15. Got thrown out the ring by a Roman Reigns. He got Sheamus like this, watching him destroy the freaking Miz and believing in Joe Henry. I liked it. But here's the thing. If they do not put credible threats in front of him, this is not going to end well for Joe Henry. Now, like I said, Jake, something's not a bad threat, not a bad match, but it's for next week. And we need to see what they're going to develop going into Rebellion. I do believe it is Rebellion for the next show. If they don't start making these shows mean something, in other words, bring in some type of talent to job for Joe Henry, not just talking about NXT. You must bring in other people. If you don't, it's not going to mean anything. If TNA is going to mean something, if TNA is going to grow, they need to give their wrestlers fresh meat to grind through. That is what people don't want to hear. Now, mind you, yes, we can periodically get NXT wrestlers coming over, but that's periodically, not all the time. Someone's going to have to make a decision and fork out this, because, again, we know this. It was reported that TNA management now has slashed the budget. That means the people working in TNA have taken a pay cut, as I said. Now, if they're doing this to make sure they can bring in new people, fine, you better bring them in. But if they did this because of corporate, and I've stated this before, corporate sees TNA as a satellite company, not as a promotion, and they want to cut the budget to make more money for them. A promotion, when they need to make money, they need to lose money as well as spend money. There's a difference between spending money that can be effective later and lose money where they have to try and make an investment, but it could go wrong. But if this is still about corporate, TNA will never become anything but a satellite company that will never reach any potential. It doesn't make a difference to them passing AEW or passing WWE as TKO WWE. It's not the point of that. It's about being a promotion. And if they're only a satellite company, as I've told you guys, this is what we get. As I told you last year, to wait and see how TNA management is going to act. And look what I said. Look what's going on. If you don't want to hear it, it's not the point. It's what has happened. They cut the damn budget. So if they want to make Joe Henry, going right back to him, meaning something important, they need fresh meat for him to grind through. He needs to have more people from the outside come in and wrestle him. It's not just NXT. It's got to be, and I repeat this again, got to be indie wrestlers that we can bring in. You got to. Now, first match, Tyson versus Ace Austin. Now, Tyson is one of the guys working with, I believe, his name is Quinn, I believe, where they're basically working with Wesley. I haven't really paid much attention to these guys because, to me personally, they really haven't done anything yet. And legitimately, when you see this match against Tyson, what is it? Dempot? I believe. Deppert. I believe that's his name. Tyson Deppert. Going against Ace Austin, you can see that he's still green. A lot of moves are very strong power moves, but when it comes to finesse, or at least talking about a little bit of Chris Bay, you have to be consistent with your wrestling moves. Not just powerful, but consistent. And he was not consistent. There were several moves that was quite sloppy. And when he tried to do them more than once, you could see it. He's not a bad wrestler, but he is still very young in the business, and he has a lot to learn. Unlike Ace Austin, who is very well refined, he's gone up against big wrestlers, small wrestlers, one that is his same size, who have been technical wrestlers, who have been very aerialists, who have been using power moves or chain wrestling. He's gone through them, which I'm very glad that he has, because it showed the difference of the quality of NXT wrestlers compared to TNA wrestlers. And he won the match, which I'm not surprised. He did get his butt kicked by Wes and Quinn. I believe his name's Quinn. And then we get the Rascals coming out. Now, this is going to be interesting. Let me make this very clear. This is going to be very interesting how Ace Austin and Trey Miguel treat one another. Because if you remember the storylines they had years ago, Trey Miguel's mom was getting hit on by Ace Austin. He was fucking with him by wanting to fuck his mom. So if they go by storyline, because you don't see Trey and Ace working together at all. You don't. They have talked to each other on and off as they showed on the show, but they've never been friends. How are they going to show this? Is Ace going to trust a Trey? Will they address what happened years ago? Don't know. They have not shown them being openly aggressive to each other, but they have shown very little interaction because of the storyline years ago, if you remember it. So this will be interesting. How they're going to book this when they show Wesley's team versus those three boys. And will they go to NXT? There's a possibility that we'll see Trey, Wentz, and Ace going to NXT TV because they may want to do the crossover. I don't know. You'll tell me below. The Battle Royal. And we had Cora Jade. Let me give it to you like this. I mean, let's make it clear. Before Cora Jade she was like that. Now that's Cora Jade. Those fun bags got bigger. But it doesn't take away that she can talk. She does have a good presence in the ring, taking away how actually she's very pretty. And can wrestle decently to good. Well, I've seen her go from here, that she's gone up and faced and shown that when she needs to rise to the occasion, she can. She's not here, but she goes here. She could be average and can easily be above average. But I'm going to tell you, I've heard her do her promos. She has been on and off, sometimes hit and miss. When you hear how she's talking on commentary, what Battle Royal is going on, I didn't like it. It legitimately sounded too laid back. And she needed to be a little more interactive, showing a little bit more interest, because she showed no interest. Now, I'm sure people are going to say, well, dude, of course she's going to show no interest. She thinks she's the best and every woman there is nothing. No. Sometimes you need to have some level of interest. Yes, she is trying to show that she's better than everyone, but she's got to have a little bit of excitement behind her voice, a little snap. And she didn't have not much of a snap at all. Even when they showed very hard, powerful moves where she should have been a lot more interactive, she was not. And I believe that was not good. Now, either she was told to do that, or she decided to do it herself. Wasn't the wisest thing to do. I do believe it brought her down a little bit. Now, did she do a bad commentary? No. I just feel like she was too laid back. Just too. It almost sounded like she was being lazy when she wasn't. She was laid back. And I believe that was a missed opportunity to show that she has even more personality than those nice titties of hers. But when we look in the ring, we got Jazz, which, unlike NWA, at least TNA will acknowledge someone that is from another show, which was good. Jazz was willing to be acknowledged as currently working with NWA and being part of one of the satellite, how can I say this? If I remember how the National Wrestling Alliance is now having small extensions of itself, I believe she is the NWA Texas division or branch of the NWA, which is great to see. She is still wrestling. It's great to see that she's running an subsidiary of the NWA, her Texas version. And it's good to see they also mentioned this. Now, it's not like we're going to see NWA working with WWE through TNA. That would be interesting. Because if you show more NWA Texas members, which they could because they're going to do several tapings in Texas, if they show this and TKO WWE doesn't give them any flack for it, you will see, counting if they would do it, a few NWA people working with some TNA people who in turn may have some people in NXT there. That wouldn't be too bad of a thing. Now, I will tell you, seeing that Heather and Ash doing everything they can to try and hide to save themselves is not too surprising. It's just how they are. But we had at the end? Xia Brookside and Savannah Evans. And it was Savannah Evans who won it. I'm not too surprised that happened. But how many women was there? You had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think about 8 or 9 women in the Battle Royal. There should have been more. What happened to Ying Yang Lee? What happened to her? Couldn't you have gotten a few extra women from the outside to come in other than Jazz? I'm not saying to get anyone from NXT. No. But if TNA is trying to show that they can take anyone in and begin to build them, or at least have some type of work with them, why couldn't they bring in another 4 or 5 more women that were from the outside? I think that would have really helped the match, showing that there's more women on the roster. Because when you look at 2020, you only had a maximum of 12 women, not 20, 12 women who literally were doing triple work. They were doing matches between each other. They were doing tag matches between each other. And then they had to do the title matches between each other and do everything they can, not only to get storylines done, but crossover storylines. And there was so few women, it just looked terrible. And you got about 9 women here, 8 to 9 women, not counting Corey Jade herself, and Jazz. Their roster for the women are so skimpy. Like I said, they need to bring more women in, and it doesn't need to be NXT women. I really see that this is going to be a major issue going in 2025. If they're going to be more live events, they need more women. But in the end, like I said, Savannah Evans, it's going to be the next challenger for Marsha Slamovich. And Marsha, who had her interview, wasn't that bad. It was alright talking about Cora Jade and the Battle Royal. Now, let me give it to you like this. This is why I liked it. When you look at Ali, and he passed the helping hands, and he passed and helped a little bit of Tasha Steelz, who was thrown out by her former partner of the system, Alicia Edwards. She feels like she was betrayed. And then you look at the helping hands, who were frustrated with each other because of probably the last match they did, and Skylar was having an argument with Notch, and it was putting his hand on both of them saying, both of you, you're arguing with each other. You're yelling at each other, but no one's listening. You guys are good hands, but you can be great. And then he goes over to a Tasha Steelz, who's like this, crying. Something I would not expect a New Yorker to be doing. Really? But you're doing that to my girl. You're doing that to my girl. Look, there's not one person from New York that is in TNA. There are 2. You got Santana and you got Tasha. Why are you doing that to my girl? Why are you making her look weak? We New Yorkers, we ain't weak. But he's saying, I know you feel betrayed. I know you feel like you've been used. And it's unfair. You deserve better than that. You've been giving more than anyone in this company. But you can be better. Take the hand, come with me, and let's do something about that. She grabs the hand, they walk away. This is going along with, and I'm not being political, I'm not being. But if you're going to be smart about it, because remember, and many of you don't, wrestling takes whatever's going on in real life, takes it and tries to make something into it or turns it on its head. In this situation, we already know about the cabinet picks currently that are going through Congress and Senate and committees. And that is kind of like what we're getting with Mustafa Ali. This is what we're getting. He's finding people to go with his cabinet. I do believe he'll probably call the Helping Hands and Tasha Steele his cabinet, which won't be that bad. But then at the same time it will. You know why? It was exactly what I was saying earlier. Yes, the Helping Hands and Tasha may join Mustafa Ali and his cabinet. But here's the problem. If you don't have an extra set of people coming in to job for them, it's not going to look as effective as it should. Hopefully within the next tapings, and if they do go with this, you're going to see Tasha go up against more than a few women, and the Helping Hands go up against a few tag teams that are not in TNA. I'm hoping to go there, but this is just me, guys. So below. What did I think about the Eric Young segment with the Northern Armory? It was okay. He was heel. That's obvious. He turned heel and made it very clear that these two Canadians are hungry and they're being treated like crap because of Josh Alexander. And he's just to abandon them. Quit. No, ain't gonna happen. Everybody that has meant something in this company has been Canadian. I am one of the greatest Canadians that has ever been in this company. I've done more than anyone in this company. Then we get Steve Macklin coming out, which he had to. I was wondering if he was going to do it this week or next week. And he did. And he made it very clear. If this was the plan, why didn't you tell me earlier? After what these guys did with you with Josh, where they almost tried to end your career and my career, you do this. Why don't you tell me? Look. And he did it like in a low, growling voice, but he made it very clear. I've told you things that no one would ever know. As a Marine, I don't just tell anybody anything. I told you things that are seared into my brain that will never leave, that will always be there. You know I trusted you. And you did this? As long as you're with them, I'm not with you. And he tries to walk away, but then Josh comes out. And they do a stare down, like face to face. And then he walks away. No words. But Josh comes out and he makes it very clear. You think you took me out? You didn't. I'm still right here. But I'm done with TNA. But before I go, I want to teach you a lesson. Because I went to Santino and asked for one last thing. One match. My last match in TNA. Next week, me and you, I'm going to whoop your ass. So it's official. The tapings are done. And we know Josh and his contract is done. Where is he going? I don't know. Is he going to Maple Leaf Pro? My guess is he will. Because I'm sure his wife's already gone there. Or is he going to WWE? I don't know. We will eventually find out. I still believe he may go to Maple Leaf Pro. He will go there because of Scott D'Amore. I do believe that. And I do believe his wife will be there as well. But I'm going to say this briefly before I move on to the last parts of this review. I have never been the type to say someone was the most pinnacle part or integral part of a promotion. I won't say that. But I'm going to say this about Josh. And I know that a lot of people just didn't like him. There was one time many years ago, there was one guy who just couldn't stand him because he was wearing a onesie. Because like he thought he was Kurt Angle. He was crap. He couldn't wrestle. He couldn't talk. He couldn't do this. And I said, why are you viewing him by attitude? Give me a good reason why you don't like him. What match did he do wrong? What segment did he do wrong? He could never answer that. He just gave me attitude and eventually stopped talking. I will tell you this. Has Josh Alexander been integral to TNA? When it was Impact, at certain points, yes, because of the pandemic. There's just no way around it. It's not the point if you liked him or not, if he talked well or not. Because of the pandemic, there were so few people that could wrestle. And he was one of them. Do I believe he was the best one there? No. Did he have good promo skills? No. He has okay promo skills. Is he a great wrestler? To a certain extent, he is. But did he get over pushed? Definitely. Got over pushed. He did. Because they just either couldn't get the people they wanted or wouldn't get the people they wanted because they didn't want to spend the budget. Because as you see now, as I say again, TNA, and I say this again, if you don't want to hear it, not my problem. They cut the budget. Remember, Scott said it himself. He tried to get more money for the company. He could not. He didn't say in detail that he couldn't get a lot of money to improve the company. But he tried to. And things fell out. Now, with the new president of TNA, who worked 30 years in network, he cut the budget. And that goes along with PCO getting a little pissed off. Now, I'm not justifying what PCO did with the title by breaking and acting the way he has. That was very unprofessional. It just is. But I can understand if he was one of the few that was willing to take a pay cut, but he just asked to be having a more pivotal role in TNA, and they refused to do it, not because he wasn't good, they just didn't want to do it. You can understand why there's issues right now, and there's a good possibility that a few more people will leave TNA. Yes, there are some who resigned, and I know that. But there's a few who are just leaving because TNA is not as great as we think it is. Now, I hope they straighten themselves out. I'm saying this right now, flat out. I still love TNA. I'm still doing the reviews of TNA, and that's not because it's gotten better because it's working with NXT. I've always loved TNA, Impact Wrestling, and unlike maybe Alex, who is now willing to do TNA because maybe it'll give him popularity and give him more views and more of this, which he has the perfect way to do it, perfect right to do it, more power to him. I'm not doing it because I'm trying to get extra money. I'm doing it because I love the company and the people who are in it. Like I said, if JD starts doing it and he's getting views and getting money from it, more power to him. If Alex finally does it and he's getting views and money, more power to him. But you guys tell me below, honestly, and this is honesty, does it really always matter? You're supposed to be doing this as a passion. And yes, this is their main source of income. But couldn't you have started another YouTube channel to cover TNA Impact even if it didn't get as much traction? Couldn't you made, and you can make, more than one YouTube channel? These guys can make 3 or 4 channels if they want, all running at the same time. And if they just want to voice their opinion on TNA, they could have done it. Even if they made no money from that other channel, they could still say what they want. But they never did. They want to always keep it there and do this. And then, like I said, more power to them. I'm just saying they could have done what I'm doing if they still cared about TNA. They could have made a secondary channel and just review it. Like, look at Sly Town Smart. Jesse, he did it for a while, but then if he wants to make money, he can't do it on that main channel. He had to stop doing it, and he had to focus on getting this. But even he can start a secondary channel, and if he has already, and he's throwing pretty much TNA videos on it, I'm glad. More power to him. But if he's not surprised. If the channel is not making what you want, you gotta make money. You do that. But if you say you love something, wouldn't it mean something to try and do an extra effort? And for me, it's not easy being with depression and anxiety. I do what I can, but still, that's here nor there. Now, the System versus Slater and the Hardys. A good match. Seeing that Slater had pain on one side of his face was cool. Seeing that they are focusing on Slater through the Hardys is great. Finally, they're doing something with Leon Slater, which I've been waiting for. Throwing him on Explosion was, I guess, alright. I haven't been watching it. But seeing that they are finally giving an effort with this guy, that they signed, but they barely ever showed him. Hopefully now, working with the Hardys, he will improve and be able to talk. That's what I want. When we got Slater winning with the system, great. And seeing that Swanton 450, very nice. Now, Matt Cardona versus Santana. Good. Excuse me. But the question now is not that it was a good match and Santana won. The question now is, what did they do with Santana? Because I don't think they're ready to throw him at Joe Henry right now. It's too soon, and they want to continue building Santana. I believe they need to have more people with Santana to work with. We might get lucky that maybe Santana could get a feud with someone from NXT. Maybe. Maybe. But I doubt it. But I hope so. But I doubt it. Just seeing the guys from NXT that are working with Wes Lee, I doubt those are the ones that he's going to work with. Now, I know you're going to say, what about Sami Callihan dealing with Ward and Staff Delanner? I am going to leave that because I need to see more development from them. Yeah, I saw the video pack. It was not bad. But I really do believe that we need to see more development. And as you can see, there is no Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship. There isn't one. Sadly. They got rid of that damn thing along with PCO, which is sad. They could have had a prestige prestige title. More than the Digital Media Championship. You could have changed the name on the damn thing, but still leave that it was its legacy. That it was from Stampede Wrestling. It was around since 1936. And that you could have said the TNA International Heavyweight Championship. Or TV Championship. You could have done that and said that it had its prestige in Stampede Wrestling. You could have done that. And that would be more interesting in the Digital Media Championship. I'm just saying, but you get my point. Ryan Nimitz and his brother Nick versus, and this is the last match, the Axiom and the Nathan Frazier. I'm not calling him Fraxium. I don't like Fraxium. It doesn't roll off the tongue to me. But we got a match that you question, why, Ryan? Why? What is the point of what he did? Now you're going to say, well, he's just acting like a loose cannon. He's acting stupid with his big brother. And that's the reason why he's acting like that. But then you want to question. You literally have a good match. But then you get so pissed off that you grab a chair, go into the ring. Your brother grabs it from you. He gets drop kicked. And then you get nailed through the wall by Axiom and Frazier. And it's you who loses. And you see Nick, who now loses an opportunity to have something from WWE. A tag championship. Even if it's the lowest tier. You see him like this. And it's probably my thumbnail. And I'm like, really? What are they going to go here? Between the two Nemec brothers? What does this mean? I don't know. I don't know how they're going to book this. And particularly, will JBL be involved? I don't know. But we will see. And I hope you enjoyed this review. Please give me a comment below. Peace.